Fast food in the 90s was an absolute golden era of bold flavors and wild colors. If you were craving a late-night snack back then, one iconic drive-thru always hit the spot. Get ready to take a delicious trip down memory lane with 10 Taco Bell fast food memories from the 1990s. When you walked through the doors of a Taco Bell in the 1990s, you were greeted by a wild explosion of bright pastel colors. The interior design was unforgettable, featuring a mix of teal, pink, and purple that made you feel like you were stepping into a vibrant cartoon. Instead of the boring gray walls we see today, these restaurants were bursting with fun and personality. You probably remember sitting on those hard plastic swivel chairs that were permanently bolted to the floor. The tables often had wacky, squiggly patterns on them, perfectly matching the loud aesthetic of the entire decade. It was a place where teenagers would hang out for hours, and families could grab a cheap dinner. The atmosphere was incredibly warm, welcoming, and entirely unique to that specific era of fast food history. While you were waiting in line to order your food, it was almost impossible to resist the legendary coin drop game sitting on the front counter. This simple but frustrating little plastic box was filled with water and featured a few small platforms. The goal was to drop a coin into the slot and twist the knob to guide your money onto a platform without letting it fall. If you successfully landed a coin on the lowest tier, you usually won a free cinnamon twist. Hitting the top tier could score you a free regular taco or even a burrito. It was a brilliant marketing trick that completely captivated kids and adults alike, turning a boring line into an arcade experience. We all thought we had the perfect strategy, but our coins usually just slipped away. Back in the good old days, taking the whole family out to eat did not mean emptying your wallet, thanks to the incredible value menu. The 59, 79, and 99-cent pricing strategy was a total game changer in the 1990s. It made the restaurant the ultimate destination for hungry teenagers and college students on a tight budget. For just a handful of loose change, you could easily feast like a king. The 59-cent tier usually included basic items like the regular crunchy taco and the simple bean burrito. If you wanted to splurge, you could move up to the higher tiers for a double-decker taco or a supreme item. It is honestly hard to believe how far a $5 bill could go back then. You simply cannot talk about this decade without mentioning the massive cultural phenomenon that was the Taco Bell Chihuahua. First appearing on our television screens in the late 90s, this tiny dog took the entire country by storm. Voiced by a talented actor, the dog would look directly into the camera and deliver the famous catchphrase, "Yo quiero Taco Bell." The marketing campaign was so incredibly successful that the company started selling plush toy versions of the dog. These little stuffed animals actually spoke the catchphrase when you squeezed them. People absolutely loved collecting these toys, and you would often see them sitting proudly on car dashboards across America. The adorable mascot helped skyrocket the popularity of the restaurant, proving that a funny commercial can capture millions of hearts. One of the most deeply missed items from this era of fast food history is the wonderfully messy and delicious chili cheese burrito. Originally introduced to the world as the chilito, this fan favorite was incredibly simple, but packed a massive punch of flavor. It consisted of warm chili and melted cheese wrapped up tightly in a soft flour tortilla. The chili was thick, hearty, and had a distinct, slightly spicy taste that perfectly complemented the gooey cheddar cheese. Eating one was always a dangerous gamble because the hot filling had a terrible habit of dripping out and ruining your shirt. Despite the mess, customers absolutely loved it as the ultimate comfort food on a cold evening. Those who grew up eating it still constantly beg the company to bring it back permanently. Another legendary menu item that brings back a flood of amazing memories is the classic Enchirito. This beautiful hybrid creation perfectly combined the very best parts of an enchilada and a burrito. While the item debuted earlier in the company's history, it remained a massive favorite throughout the 1990s. The original version featured a soft flour tortilla filled with seasoned ground beef, hearty beans, and diced onions. The real magic happened on the outside, where the whole thing was smothered in tangy red sauce and melted cheese. The most iconic detail was the presentation, as it was served in a special tinfoil tray to keep it piping hot. It was always garnished with exactly 3 sliced black olives on top, making it feel like a fancy restaurant meal. Long before the menu became strictly focused on tacos and burritos, the restaurant actually tried to compete directly with classic burger joints. They did this by offering a very unique item called the Bell Beefer. While it was slowly phased out in the early 90s, anyone who ate there probably remembers this bizarre but tasty creation. Instead of a traditional hamburger patty, the Bell Beefer used their famous seasoned ground beef scooped generously onto a soft hamburger bun. It was essentially a Mexican-inspired sloppy joe, topped with crisp shredded lettuce, diced onions, and a mild red sauce. If you ordered the supreme version, they would even add diced tomatoes and grated cheese to the mix. It is a perfect example of the fun, experimental spirit that defined the fast food industry. The 1990s were an absolute golden age for fast food movie tie-ins, and the massive promotional campaign for Star Wars Episode I was legendary. In 1999, the company transformed their restaurants into futuristic space stations filled with incredible promotional materials. The absolute best part of this campaign was the amazing line of collectible toys that came with the kids' meals. These meals featured highly detailed action figures and puzzle cubes that every kid desperately wanted to collect. They also offered amazing plastic cup toppers that featured the heads of popular characters from the movie. These plastic cups were so well made that many people still have them sitting on shelves in their homes today. The sheer scale of the promotion made a simple trip to get a taco feel like a cinematic adventure. As the decade started coming to a close, the company decided to shake things up by introducing a brand new type of shell. This completely changed the menu forever with the highly anticipated debut of the Gordita. Launched in 1998 with a massive advertising campaign featuring the slogan "Viva Gorditas," this new item was an instant smash hit. Instead of the traditional hard corn shell or the thin flour tortilla, the Gordita featured a thick, warm, pillowy flatbread. You could get it stuffed with all the classic fillings, but the soft texture provided an entirely new eating experience. It was such a massive success that it eventually paved the way for other legendary creations like the chalupa. Biting into that warm flatbread for the very first time is a core memory for many. Finally, we have to talk about the visual identity of the restaurant during this golden era. The original brown, yellow, and orange color scheme is a powerful blast of pure nostalgia for anyone who grew up back then. Before they switched to the modern purple and pink logo, the signs featured a simple, blocky bell sitting on a plain brown background. The employees wore matching uniforms that were usually a combination of earthy brown and mustard yellow. The whole aesthetic felt very grounded and rustic, acting as a nod to the classic mission-style architecture of the original buildings. Watching that classic logo slowly disappear from the landscape was like watching the end of an era. Nothing will ever beat the comforting feeling of seeing that old brown and yellow sign glowing in the night. Which of these classic fast food items or restaurant memories do you miss the most? Let us know your answer in the comments below, and please be sure to subscribe to American Rewind.